Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday.
Ooh, good morning. Good morning.
Oh, it's so sweet to be here with you all. I just had a moment of panic because I just realized I don't really know how to ban spammers. So we're just hoping everybody put up your protective shields. Happy Monday. How's everyone feeling from all these
Mm,
energies? Tara, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
What are you noticing?
So I'm getting a lot of lightness. Last night I went with a friend to Sodus to see the Northern Lights or the whatever the Aurora Borealis, and um, and I just noticed like I could feel this lightness. I actually had to sit down on a big rock because I started to get woozy, and I'm like, ooh, I like this. Like something's coming through, and it feels good.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. How's everyone doing? How's everyone here feeling? If you're live or on replay, good morning. Welcome. Hey, Ashley. Good morning, Laura. We miss you. Happy birthday, Laura.
Happy birthday!
Mwah. Happy birthday. I'm here filling in. I'm Daniela. I'm filling in for the next couple of weeks at 10 a.m. while Laura is on mega adventure. She's going to host the retreat in Colorado. Then she'll be back for a podcast I think next Tuesday. And then she heads over to London. So we'll just connect here for every morning at 10 Eastern for about an hour. And we have some great guests coming in and lots of just upliftment. And we miss you, Laura. We miss you already. Good morning, Stephanie. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Leanne. Um, Laura, you have to tell us how your birthday was when you have a moment, not while you're driving. So I'm so happy to be here with a dear friend, Tara Franklin. Some of you may have seen her about a week ago with Laura, and she's back here today to tell you a little bit about some of the upcoming free offerings in Astara. Tara, over to you. Why don't you describe a little bit about your passion and your story and what your offering is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've taken several yoga classes, yoga teacher trainings that I absolutely adored with Daniela. And um, I find that creating a fusion of several different types of movements and meditations and different styles just fits. It's my medicine, so I love to teach it because there's so many different variations of it that you can pull out your own from what I'm guiding. um, to what is your medicine and what might fit you in each moment of every day. And the other thing I love about it is you can take like one little chunk of something and just do that thing for a few minutes and notice a shift in your energy throughout the day. And that for me has been really potent, especially in the times right now where you just need to do a different kind of breath work, a pranayama that shifts the energy in such a way, or do a little movement where the body's feeling something unpleasant and just move some of that energy out of the way. And it really doesn't take very long to do it. So um, that's what I'm finding now is that it's really truly wonderful to do a full long practice if you have the time, and sometimes we just have short periods of time that we can get things in and they're still effective and they are enough.
Even just a 10-minute moving practice can really help you to just shift your energy. It really is all about clearing and grounding and really uplifting our energy. And we love encouraging people to just do 5 minutes, do 10 minutes, start anywhere that you are, because anything is better than nothing for starters. And when we tell our minds, look, we're just going to do this for 5 or 10 minutes, no big deal, it can be a way through the hurdle of resistance, because resistance is going to be there. I know very few people that experience no resistance um, to daily practices. I mean, you've
Yeah.
been attending to your physical layer, and of course, yoga and breath practices and meditations attend to the emotional body. It's deep healing medicine and the energy body. I mean, it's a full system medicine. Oriole,
Ooh, I love
right
Lori.
outside our window. It's for you all. Birds are my squirrel friends.
Yes.
So do you what does resistance sound like for you when it shows up, and how do you move through it, because that's one of the biggest hurdles.
Mm-hmm. So resistance for me is I like to get up and get my things done in the morning. Otherwise, I have the resistance later to do it. So it's like, oh, I'll just get it done later or whatever later might never happen.
Mm.
So if there's something where I'm feeling that resistance, I bring to mind someone who can benefit from my practice. And then I do my practice with them in my mind. Um, and I show up differently. I show up totally differently for doing something that will energetically help others or even the collective. If I do that actually a lot, more of the collective than one person.
Mm.
I just show up differently. I show up differently on the mat. I show up differently in my mind and my energy. It's a lot more potent, I think.
Tell us a little bit about, because you're also here's why a million things I love about Tara is Tara's also an Akashic Records reader, hummingbird.
I,
She's in the world of the quantum world and works one-on-one and as a healer. So when you're present to resistance and you generate that feeling of this will benefit Bob, my community, the world, all timelines, all directions. What does that inner world experience look like, feel like for you, such that it really feels like it sources you?
yeah, it does. It feels so expansive. It's no longer limiting.
Mm,
There aren't any more barriers. Um, it feels like, if you were to imagine what the mother womb feels like,
mm,
that's what this feels like for me, is that I have the capacity to hold all that is
mm.
in my practice within my energy. And I got there because I was doing my practices and following through on challenges that I gave myself. And I really want to find another word for that.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I
It's-
like opportunity, like 7-day opportunity. And
yes,
yet
I love
the culture is around like
that.
40-day challenge. Like
Yeah,
I would love a different word. Let's
yeah.
find a different word.
Let's definitely find a different word. I'm open to recommendations on different words than a challenge because
Adventure.
that creates resistance just in that word for
Thank
me.
you.
Um, so I want it to be when we're doing like a 7 day something, that it's liberating for you and doesn't create resistance, because sometimes I understand part of it is moving through resistance, and starting with resistance is not really beneficial in my world.
It's like putting out there, it's already going to be hard.
It's already going to be hard. Yeah. And then you're like, why am I doing it?
Yes, like opportunity, adventure. Friends, give us a
Ooh, I
word
like that one
that,
event.
yeah, that just would be like, oh yeah, instead of challenge, a 7-day blank, because Tara has a 7-day blank that
Yeah.
she will be leading us through. Um, and it is a game changer, just like, let's just pretend antibiotics in this scenario don't do any havoc on your, digestive system, and they're just great. And when you take them every day for 7 days, they have a cumulative effect.
Hmm.
Well, anything that you do for 7 days, especially if you're seeking to begin or reconnect with a practice, that you're more likely to continue doing it, and you can. It's just getting going.
Yeah.
Marla's got a beautiful in the chat. Can you see the comments in the chat,
I cannot.
Tara? There's a button over on the very right, I think, that says upper right comments. See if you click on that, if that gives you access to. Marla says, 7-day magical
Oh,
manifestation. I love that.
ooh. Yeah, it kind of takes up my whole screen when I click on it, so I'll have to figure it out for next time. The chat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I
okay,
like that.
so tell us a little bit about the logistics of this.
So with the 7-day magical something, I like the word magical.
7 days of magic,
Yeah,
magical manifestation, Marla says.
I love it. um, I love the word magical, so let's totally weave that in. Um, so I would like to start it on the 19th, going through the 25th. 9:30 to 9:45. It's a very short practice. Some of that's going to be me talking to you before we do the practice. So it'll be no more than 9 minutes and probably no less than 7 minutes. That we're just going to do one thing, and that one thing is going to be enough for the entire day. If you want it to be just that, you'd be able to do this anytime you want if it's on replay. Um, and I just invite you to collect your own data. Like see where you are when we start on Sunday, and see where you are again on Saturday, and see how that few minutes a day shifts your whatevers. um, because you're going to collect your own data, right? So it could be one thing, it could be many things, it could be maybe you don't notice anything, and all of those are perfectly valid. So yeah, that's what I like to collect data on: what is working, what isn't working, what I notice, what I don't notice, what I might notice a week later. Um, so yeah, so I'll go live at 9:30 on Sunday.
Okay, so it'll be
And
the Astara in the AstaraCommunity.com free live stream.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Um, you know, friends, you're in such good hands with Tara. She is so considerate and compassionate and understanding, and there's a very steady, gentle like power that comes through Tara when she teaches and leads. What's beautiful about Tara's style of teaching is that anything she's teaching and sharing is accessible to everyone. So for some, if there's maybe you want to sit on the floor to do the practice. For some of you, you may wish to sit in a chair. So everything is open for exploration and variation. You know, in the world of yoga, there's other language sometimes like modifications, and I'm not a fan of that language. I like let's explore, let's vary, let's check it out and see how it feels. So what's beautiful about Tara's teaching methodology is that it is it is consciously taught to you and shared with you so that everybody can find their way with it. And that's a game changer, right? Because oftentimes there may be images in our mind's eye or impressions of to do yoga or to do qigong, you have to be flexible or you have to be this or that. And that couldn't be farther for the truth. What is your response if someone has a concern like, well, oh, I can't get on the ground. I can't sit cross-legged on the ground. That like I'm not a pretzel.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we can do to be comfortable. So, I was thinking when you were saying about, all the things that we can't do. And I came to yoga years ago, way before the teacher training, after I had my son. So he's going to be like 24. I found yoga through like those at home videos. And I had a lot of back pain. And that's why I went to yoga, was because I needed to loosen some of that up, because I was just like, you can't bend over to tie one's shoes. That's very frustrating. um, so I went to yoga for that, and I just went with my body. I allowed my body to just be as it was, and I know it's sometimes challenging to want to do things right and not screw it up. And we all have different bodies. We have different injuries. We have different things going on, as Christopher says, body projects, and honoring those things and moving with your body is the most empowering thing, because there's no wrong way to move your body if it's comfortable. So, if sitting on the floor is uncomfortable, by all means, you can go and, sit into a chair. Even some of the laying down poses you can do laying down on the sofa or laying down on your bed, where it might be more accessible to do those laying down poses too. So, um, one of the things that I had to learn from watching my teachers was it's okay if I'm not doing exactly what they're doing because they've been doing it longer than me. I'm, still, we all start somewhere.
And I love the, oh, hang on, let me turn the heater off. We don't need that. I love that when students and participants are really finding their own authentic expression of the pose, it means they're really in their inner world and feeling and sensing and exploring and learning like what are these sensations? What does this feel like?
Hmm.
In that regard, nobody should look alike.
No.
Like that's absurd.
Yeah.
And it is a game changer. Two days are game changers. One is the day that you really turn inward and say to yourself, I really wish to heal my relationship with myself in my experience of being in my body.
Hmm.
And then the day where all of a sudden you notice you have a friendlier relationship with yourself in embodied.
Yeah.
It is, we are here to experience embodiment. And the body isn't this other thing that we're just dragging along, right? It is like, I love Angelica's language, the vessel or the temple. It's not about how it looks. It's about you coming into
Hmm.
a friendly, caring relationship with yourself embodied.
Yeah.
And that is a really powerful journey.
Yeah. And going back to the thing that you said about not being flexible or bendy or things like that, um, about 7 years ago, I started doing a different yoga teacher training. And she was having us get into all these positions that were not for my body. And I got stuck. And it
Mhm.
was embarrassing. Like, I got stuck, in positions that I should not have been getting my body into. Um, so I'm very aware and conscious of different body things, because I've experienced them in my own physicalness to be able to navigate some of those, like neck pain, body, shoulder stuff, back pain, sciatica, all of those things, even down to the feet with ankle things, like very aware and very conscious of the body and the things that we may have gone through in our lives to be able to still do things that might feel nourishing in the physical body, and have a way to get there that is safe and feels good.
Mm. Tara, what difference do you notice in the way you think, perceive, attend to your emotions with the addition of gentle movement and qigong and some simple breath practices? When you do those daily, what difference does it make for you? What measurable difference in your thoughts, expression, relating to yourself, others in the world, and your emotions?
Yeah. Um, I'm going to speak on anger because anger has always been the emotion for me to navigate.
Mm.
Um, I will say that my capacity to be poked is greater when I'm doing a practice every single day than if I'm not. If I haven't done it, I might be a little more fiery in a not so pleasant way.
Mhm.
Um, and because my mental body is different, there's more space from the thoughts when I'm doing a practice and I'm moving some of those things out consistently.
Mhm.
I have more space to energetically hold and uh, in compassion other people, how they be in the world as they are. And physically I don't have so many like things happening with that come with too much fire, excess fire, breakouts and rashes and things like that, they aren't there so much, from the Ayurveda cleanse. So I noticed that if I haven't done that
Mhm.
consistently, or I've missed a few days because of lifing, I definitely have less capacity to let's say tolerate life as opposed to when I'm doing a practice. I'm like, oh, you're just showing up as you, and that's fine, right? Like I might not have that if I'm not doing my practice. I might be like
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Amazing. Um, and tell us a little bit about your some of your other work that, and it kind of it all blends, like Tar
yes.
Franklin, energy worker, through all the layers of being, through yoga, through the Akashic records. How does this all blend in, especially when you work one on one with someone? How do you help them to find their ideal practice for them? How are you able to serve clients through your wealth of knowledge and years of study?
Yeah. So I'll start with the Akashic records because right now that's my jam. Like I am so in love with the Akash and the records that I feel like the poster child. Um, so
Wait, and before you go on, can you describe the Akashic records in a different way, in case the analogy of it's kind of like a big library of access to everything for you, right? Like, can you how if that doesn't someone doesn't grok what they are,
mhm,
can you help us bring us into an experience of like, oh, that's what the Akashic records are?
yeah. So that's an actually interesting question because one of my teachers, so I've been a psychic medium since I was little. And then I was trying to like figure out like what's the difference between psychic medium and Akashic records? Like I know there's a difference and like where is that exactly? Like how do I describe it? And through my experience, what I've learned is psychic mediums, we reach a certain level to be able to do message work for our clients. The Akashic records give us such this high frequency that is your highest timeline. So like if you're reading tarot cards, there's so many different pathways that you can take.
Mm.
The records give you your highest timeline where you don't have to navigate several different pathways to get there to get to the same place. I've gotten more very specific, direct clarity on lifing from the records beyond what I could get as a psychic medium or somebody could get from me as a psychic medium. Just because the the records are in such a high frequency that we're always getting the highest timeline information. And through that, finding our soul groups and where our soul has incarnated and connecting in with those keys and codes of who we be, who our soul is that already mastered things, and collecting our permission slips. We talk a lot about that, and a lot of the things that I offer with people. We talk about collecting permission slips. I collect mine. I give them out, and we have those, oh, of course I can accept this. People tell me I'm great at this all the time. And now I know why. So I can say, yes, it's mine. And that's a game changer. Like, it's one thing for Daniela to say all these beautiful things about my yoga, teaching yoga. It's another thing for me to see how I got there beyond where I am now, if that makes sense. So for me, the records in this way have been incredibly empowering. And the clarity has been so expansive that I'm like, I want to be in there all the time. So when I do find resistance, going back to resistance, because I'm an 8 and that's my jam too. When I need the medicine to surrender, I go into the records with a question like, what's happening? What am I missing? Where's my blind spot? And then I'll like bounce that off someone who knows me and will give me that kind of feedback back. And they're like, yep, that makes total sense. Like,
Mm.
so I get that too. Like it's a both and type thing. Um, so yeah, I find that even though they, like you were saying, the records are this big expansive energy that goes forwards backwards into all the things, when it pertains to our life right now and how we be, it's a lot more clear for me, clear pathway.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And what's your joy in, when you work one on one with friends? And we'll make sure that we link you up to you have a divinate, you have an Astara profile, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. cool. So you can make sure friends know how to reach out to you if they'd like to explore further. What is one-on-one work like with you? What's that journey?
Um, it's so multifaceted. I bring in all the things. So, whatever is happening in your world that you want to navigate, I will hold the space for that in a safe container. I come from the medical field, so we don't talk about things outside of our safe container with others. Um, and I weave in the yoga, I weave in the Ayurveda, I weave in the Akashic records because it's very helpful for you to know like your soul's journey.
Mm.
Um, and sometimes it's just talking about what's going on in your world right now and how to navigate that to be able to process things that are happening. So there's that. And with all of this wealth of knowledge I've collected through these several years, I do a lot of channeling just for you as well. So it's not like a one size fits all, it's a one size fits one, where I'm definitely pulling through information for you, from your team, to help you be where you want to be and get to where you want to go. And one of my most beloved friends gave me some feedback, and it really it really struck me because I felt the same thing when I've been working with people.
Mm.
Was she experienced the absence of loneliness, and
Mm.
I sat with that and I'm like, oh, like that just went right to my heart. It's still there. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, I get that. Like when I've worked with people, I feel the absence of loneliness. I feel seen and heard and validated. And, I have value and meaning in the world, and they make sure that I know that. And I do the same for others. And that was like, I carry that with me every single day. Like, so the most beautiful thing,
Mm.
be able to have someone experience.
Mm. Lynn's asking if there are any books, and maybe someone else here watching or listening may have a recommendation too. Tara, are there any books that would be helpful for learning about the Akashic records, like a beginner's guide for how to access them? Anything that comes to mind? No is okay. Maybe someone
No.
can put in the chat something that you have experience with that you're like, oh, this is really good.
So, several years ago, I went to Kapalua and had my very first IT healing. I went to see Gabby Bernstein. It was like a weekend retreat thing that she was having, and the practitioner that was doing my IET recommended Linda Howe. She's like, "You're going to be doing Akashic Records readings."
Marla literally just put Linda
Yeah,
Howe in the
yeah.
Wait, what is IET? What does that mean?
International Energy Healing. It's
Okay.
with the
Cool.
angels.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Marla says, Linda how to read the Akashic records.
yeah, yeah, and
Thank
it's really good on audiobook,
you. Mhm.
because she does like meditations, and with the audible you can like listen to them instead of having to record them yourself or try to read it and do it. Um, that's a good that's a really good pathway. All the other ones, I haven't really read too many books. I just started that one and then just went into a course to be able to read records for others.
Mhm.
um, and oddly, I was getting all of these channeled books from people that have channeled stuff in the Akashic records, and when I went into mine, I was told, or guided, like, we can answer these questions for you without you having to read other people's truth. So that's the path that I've been on,
Mhm.
is what's my truth, and as opposed to somebody else's, and making it my own.
Mm. And Marla also says Edgar Casey on the
Yeah,
Akashic records is another recommendation.
yeah,
Um, Beautiful. I just want to rewind a little bit in the chat and just acknowledge Jackie. Jackie shared a few comments back, just how um, Jackie experiences pain and has been meditating a lot more because of a motorbike accident 11 years ago. Um, Chronic brachial plexus injury, which causes a lot of discomfort. Anything come to mind in this moment, Tara, for Jackie?
what is that exactly? I'm not sure what the injury is.
Yeah, Jackie, if you're able to describe it a little bit more. And Jackie, what is there movement that you do that does feel nourishing or strengthening or and kind to your body? And it
Yeah, from
says,
the from the yogic lens, it's really about what we can do, not what we can't do.
Mhm, mhm,
So at least that's how I perceive it, is what can I do? And maybe it's different every day. Maybe, today I can do a little more than I was able to do yesterday. And maybe tomorrow I won't be able to do what I did yesterday or today.
mhm.
So I like to focus on what I can do, in whatever range that I have available to me. So that's how I approach any kind of movement. And definitely meditation can be so very nourishing too. And yoga nidra. Yoga nidra is a beautiful meditation type practice that takes you into a very relaxed state where you are awake and aware and alert. So it's similar. I like to say sometimes it's similar to like hypnotherapy, except for it's not hypnotherapy. You're
Mhm.
very awake and alert and aware of what's going on. And you get to go into this deep state of relaxation. And a lot of healing can be done in that space,
Mm.
without even having to, have physical movement until you're able to move a little more.
Thank you, Jackie. Jackie was sharing a little further. Nerves were severed and reattached. She exercises as much as she can, very, very day to day. And in my shoulder, it was broken.
Mm,
There's also so much power to, sometimes when we lead classes, we'll invite our friends or participants, whether for the first time or new or returning to their practice, to find your way, find your style. You may enjoy it seated, you may enjoy it standing. Sometimes there's great benefit to participating in a practice lying down and not at all using any of your body, to see and feel using all your senses that you are participating in the practice. If you're feeling sick, if you're not well, if you're injured, there is tremendous benefit to imagining and feeling. I was a figure skater in my younger years, and my coach had me practice as much in my mind's eye. So when she would present to me new music for freestyle, it was like, 3-minute whole routine, and it's all choreographed, and it's got like the right number of spins, the right number of jumps for the competition. I would be instructed, she would map it out, and she would first have me listen to it over and over and see it seated while I was, just sitting there. And she would let me on the ice. When I demonstrated, I was sweating because my body had really integrated the practice. And then she would send me out. So there is athletes practice this. There's data on the impact of imagining a practice. And
yeah.
for some, and this is the beauty of Tara's live streams in Astara, is that come to the live stream. Even if you don't do it, come watch it. Just start to let yourself, it's like drinking from this chalice of nourishment, and you just start receiving it that way, even if your body doesn't engage physically, and find your way into the waters.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And as you were saying that, like there are some Kundalini practices like Pitcher Kriya where we are scooping water for several minutes just doing this one practice. And when I first started that, I was not able to do this. Like I had so much resentment and anger pent up in my shoulder that doing this for 11 minutes was like not going to be happening. Like it was just intense and painful, not like discomfort. Um, so when I had to pause, which, permission to pause is perfect. When I had to pause, I would imagine my arm still doing that movement while I was resting. And then I would move back in when I could, and then pause when I needed to, or even just, not go up so high. And then when I paused, I see my arm, my energetic arm doing the practice. And that's also, it's very empowering and you can still feel the difference. It's
Mm,
as if you're still doing it.
Exactly. And what I love about many of the practices that you share, they are for something, right? So that there's a practice for moving the energy of a particular emotion. There are practices for grief. There are practices for anger. There are practices for anxiousness. It's really incredible medicine, and we need this, especially to balance out for how much time we spend, in the in the upper levels. These practices help allow us to integrate the energies, right? It's very easy for many people here attracted to this
Hmm.
work. This is the quantum community, metaphysical community, and balancing that enthusiasm out with let's nourish our entire system is going to accelerate your experiences in all the quantum fun.
Absolutely. And talking about grounding, so in the Akashic records, we'll go, it's a both and situation here for me. Um, I, like most people, were up here, and the word grounding just felt terrible to me. It felt heavy, like slate or, heavy boulders or something. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to be my airy fairy self if I'm grounded. Um, and, for me, it happened naturally through doing these practices. And when I was in the records asking about teaching in Astara and things like that, and how I got to where I am, because I couldn't really pinpoint it. Like I couldn't say, oh, this was when I felt grounded in more capacity. Like it just kind of organically happened in a very subtle way. So the record showed me that I had so much density in those lower three chakras that there was no space for everything that was up here to move down and be integrated.
Yeah.
So they're like, you have this enormous amount of energy and potential and wisdom and all the things that are up in these upper chakras, but it's got nowhere to go because you have no space in the rest of your body for it to move down and integrate.
Mm.
So, like as we're talking, like they're reminding me of these things of when we think grounding, we think heavy, and it's not necessarily that. It's making space for the capacity of that quantum to move through the body and be able to take space in the body and in the energy field, so that way you have more access to who you are as a soul, as an energy. And without that space, we can't embody it fully. We're only still getting little dribbles, drabs of who and what we are as a soul. And all of that wisdom that we have available to us is just lingering until we have the space to bring it into the body.
Mm. And when you experienced as a direct experience, oh, this is what it feels like for me to be grounded. What did that, like, what were your signatures and symptoms of, oh, this is grounded? It's not that thing that I thought. Like, I remember Kim saying the same thing to me. She would like ask me, because I have a lot of my energy is located up here, and my work is also to become much more embodied in my lower chakras. And she would say, like, do you eat sweet potatoes? Eat sweet. I'm like, ew, no. Why do I want to feel more dense?
Right.
Oh my gosh, unbelievable game
Yeah.
changer. And it wasn't just sweet potatoes that helped me to ground. Believe me, I
Yeah.
wish it was that simple. However, everything from what we ingest to how we breathe to how we move to pausing to respond, all of these things. Like, so what were your signatures of, oh, this is what I feel like grounded, and this is really delicious.
Yeah. So I incorporated some tools. It wasn't just the yoga. So I used Guru Dev oils from Sheepskin Mama. She has Guru Dev oils that were incredibly potent. I had the root, because I knew my work was root chakra work.
Mhm.
So I got the root chakra oil, I got the sacral oil, and I got release. And I put the release. I know the directions say something.
Mhm.
But I put the release on my liver.
You did
um,
your own thing.
yeah, I did my own thing. I followed my own guidance, and I know that for me, it was anger and resentment in the liver. So move some of that out with the release. I put the oils on as directed, basically for the other two, and then I would do my practice with the intention that I was moving some of this energy out. And um, and I also incorporate crystals because that's my jam too. I love all the things. um, so in my shavasana, I would put crystals on my chakras and let those kind of infuse me as I was relaxing after the practice. That I've been infused with the sense of the oils and all those things. Um, and when I think now of grounding, it's not, I do have roots in Gaia. I can see that. I also didn't place them where I believed they needed to be. Most of my teachers guided me to root in like a forest or all the way down into the core of the earth, which all of those things are valid. However, for me, I'm like, I want to be on the beach. I'm going to be a willow tree with these beautiful roots in the water. And I can feel that. I can see that. And that feels grounding and nourishing because it's not just, so it didn't feel so dark. It
Mm.
felt flowy and watery,
Mm.
and there's the sun and all these beautiful things. And I'm in Bora Bora, right? So,
Obviously.
right.
Obvi.
So nobody tells you that you don't have to be like on a mountain in the forest, which is also amazing. But for me, I didn't want to be in the mountain in a forest. I wanted to be on the beach near the ocean and these beautiful blue skies. So that's where I planted myself, like
Mm.
in my mind.
Mm.
And from that, I created this space from doing the movement practice to be able to go into my heart space. That was not accessible to me when I first started yoga. That was
Mm.
not accessible to me 4 years ago when I met Daniela. Like, drop into the heart space. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. It's dark. It's weird. It feels uncomfortable. No. So through the practices, I was like, oh, like there's something there. There's something there, and each time I would have a little more access and a little more access until I was able to understand what it meant to drop into the heart space. And that was with actually Kim Beekman. We were doing some violet flame work on a meditation, and she mentioned a crystal cave of amethyst. And that was the moment I dropped into my heart space. I saw my heart space as an amethyst cave, which is, I can do that. I can see an
Mm.
amethyst cave very clearly because I love amethyst. And once I saw that, I started to be able to create my own space in my heart space. And that's where I ground now. So I don't ground necessarily into the earth. I go into my heart space that I've created that also has the ocean and the galaxies and the mountain and the forest and all the things. All the things that I love are right in my heart space. And that is
Mm.
where I ground. And it doesn't feel heavy, it's very expansive.
I love it. I love it. Permission to explore and find our literal sanctuary and what are the
Yeah.
textures of that, such that, like if you were to decorate your home, if you had like you could do
Yes.
anything you wanted, like how exactly would you make your sanctuary?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to make sense. Like, that's the most beautiful thing is like when I guide people to their sacred heart, I'm like, it doesn't have to make sense. You can have a galaxy with the sun and five moons and an ocean that is a totally different color. Like, you can have all of these things and it doesn't have to logically make sense as long as it's comfortable for you and it
Yeah.
feels beautiful.
Yes. Oh, we're having a blanket mishap. He's like a little adolescent. They just sleep in. Well, Tara, thank you so much for popping in today. So you have a live stream class tomorrow,
Yep,
Tuesday. Is it 3-ish or 7-ish?
three-ish.
Okay. So
Yep,
3 o'clock, like three, right?
three. Yep.
So it's 3 o'clock tomorrow in astaracommunity.com. That's the Mighty Network. And come check it out. The replay will be available, and it's sweet to connect in real time and live around the world. And even if you're not actually doing the practices, come. Let it start to connect with you. Just let it start to connect with you, friends. It's like one of the greatest gifts we could give light workers is just come. Come check it out. Green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
um, so that's on Tuesday. Then I think you have another live stream on Saturday, and the 7-day magical manifestation opportunity adventure, formerly known as 7-day challenge, begins on the Sunday, the 19th. And that will be every morning for 7 days in a star live stream at 9:30. Did I get the time right?
You did.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else you want to share in closing? I'm going to bring Laura Povinelli in a moment, and so we'll do a switcheroo.
Yeah, no, thank you so very much. And thank you everyone for being here. And Daniela, thank you for having me.
Oh, I love you.
I love you.
So much. Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful. What an adventure. I'm so happy we get to share this adventure together.
Absolutely. Me too. Thank you.
Mwah. Love you.
Bye. Love you.
Oh, hi. Am I high?
Hi, Laura.
I'm multitasking in the background. I didn't know when I was going to get pulled on.
Yoo-hoo! There we go. Happy Monday, Laura. So happy to see you.
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
We get 2 guests today. How cool is this?
Woo! Yes.
Laura, you have been up to some cool stuff. So
Yeah.
I was over to you. Tell us about all the things.
Okay. I was just trying to click. Okay, I have to comment on. StreamYard is a little bit new to me, so I'm just trying to figure out things. So hello everybody.
So I see in the upper right is a comments button. Does that show up on your screen? Do you see it? It's a little
Hold
like
on 1 second.
blue flag, and I'm wondering if that does it for you.
I figured it out. Well, I've done it before where I have to like have a second screen if I want to like comment on anybody's stuff. I was just setting all that up. Okay. And then it has it is weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello everybody. Yes. Things have shifted a lot for me over the past, I'm like, what is it? It's mid-May, a couple months, month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of the weekly shadow work lives on now with Stara, and then life circumstances kind of happened and my space kind of shrank. And I started thinking, okay, what can I do with the time that I have? So I decided to shift gears. I was running a shadow work group myself that I started back in the fall. And I've just felt such a really strong pull for people just to start creating that sense of deeper community. And I'm like, why don't like everyone, I feel everybody would benefit from like finding really close people that they can connect with to go in deep for their own healing. So I found a few lovely, willing people that would step forward and choose to facilitate their own shadow work group. And I have 4 lovely ladies that stepped forward. I'm like 4, yeah, there's 5 of us. And that's going to be launching. Well, I launched the program now, but the sessions aren't starting until the end of the month. Yeah.
And are you able to put in the chat? Actually, I'll go back and put in like the comments, all the ways that people that are curious and interested to join these groups. I read through your post, so I got a sense as to, okay, so it's a 12-week journey, right? That someone is committing to be in a group. The group size, which is a peer led shadow work group. I love it. Walking the Shadow Home was such a beautiful.
It's funny. I want to thank you for helping me find that, because you probably unknowingly helped me with that, because you sent me that video of Matt Kahn. Video called
Befriending the Shadow, is that it, or something like that? Yeah,
it was respecting the shadow. And in the video he talked about us like we are all angels just walking our shadow home, and I was like, oh, that's beautiful. Like I just loved the way it sounded, because we need to stop treating our shadow as something that's bad and has to just leave.
Yes. It'll actually it's running the show. So let's make it conscious. Let's befriend it. Let's attend to it. It's really where our whole survival structure is. The shadow is our survival structure. And it has protected us so powerfully for many years. And then all of a sudden, kind of like I like to think of it as like, homeopathic medicine. Like if you get hives and you use homeopathy, you would take apis, which is bee venom. Apis makes the hives go away.
Mhm.
And how we know it works is if you don't have hives and you take apis, you get hives, right? So our shadow tendencies are going to, at some point, they're not going to protect us. They're going to create, they become destructive mechanisms, the way we experience ourselves, others, and the world. And it's a whole very innocent process. So we just want to be conscious of it. And Laura, you have been such a champion for yourself first. And it's like when you discover something works, all you want to do is share it with other people.
Mhm.
Like you experience less suffering, or less time in suffering, because you have been on this journey very consciously for yourself now for years.
Mhm.
So okay, so the structure of the Walking the Shadow home peer-led groups is that they meet once a week for 12 weeks. The group size, I think, if I remember, is 7. Is that right?
Including the facilitator, yes, because we want to keep things small
Yeah.
and have space to share. Anything bigger than that, I have found to be overwhelming a bit.
And there's no tuition for this, right? So
Mm,
it's
no, and this I'm just kind of just winging it and taking each step as it comes. I don't foresee it being a monetary thing. It may eventually, but I may try to grow it into a big nonprofit style program eventually. I mean, I have 2 young kids at home. I'm just squeezing in what I can during the day, and I think a big part of, my whole process is making it spirit led and guided, like following the signs of the universe and just keep going ahead. Cause I feel like my entire life I have tried to use my brain to figure everything out, and it's done is wore me out. So when I started the group originally, I was like, I'm just um gonna do what I can when I have the time and just let my guides show me the way. And that's all the time I have right now, and like being a mom of young kids to do it. So it's actually been a really fun ride so far. And I actually encourage everybody to give it to the guides for everything. It just makes your life more magical.
I love that. Who doesn't want a magical life? Hello.
Yeah.
So can you paint a picture, Laura, if someone's listening to this, how would someone recognize themselves as a really great match to join one of the peer-led groups for 12 weeks? 12 weeks is a commitment.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if you could do 2 things. Could you kind of paint a picture for where somebody might be at in their spiritual journey, which I think spiritual journey and healing journey are synonyms.
Mhm.
And then number 2, what is required for someone, because if someone says yes, they're taking a seat in a 7 person group for 12 weeks. So there's something to be said about showing up and following through and accountability. So yeah, paint a picture for who this is a really great match for and who it might not be.
Right. Well, the word accountability, I think, is a really great thing that you brought up, because I feel like in order to be in a group like this, we come from the belief that everything that happens inside and outside is our responsibility, and we are to take accountability for everything that happens. If you are still kind of in that victim mode, like, oh, woe is me, the world's happening to me, like you might not be ready, because you have to be ready to realize that it's you and only you that can change your life. And it can't be like, oh, well, my neighbor is an asshole or my husband's like this. And if you're still kind of in that frame, like where all these things are happening to you, then I mean, you got to know that if you're going to join a group like this, then you're going to be pushed to look at yourself in a different light.
Mm,
For
got
sure.
it. So that's a really great gauge. Or if someone here is like feeling a resonance, like, oh my gosh, this is like what I've been asking for, then asking yourself, am I willing to really turn the lens completely on myself, even when it appears the bad guy is out there? Right? So if we're in a space where we want to argue for our story, that's a good indicator this may not be the next step. Sometimes we need talk therapy. because we need to witness. We need somebody to witness a painful situation. Okay, so great. What are some other litmuses that you would say these are great indicators you're ready for this? So the first one is I really want to look at how I am the center of my whole
Right.
world.
That's a good question. And now I'm having brain farts. Give me 1 second.
Sure thing.
I felt for me, I really wanted the group because I was ready to find a community to call home. For me personally, I didn't have the people other than my husband, who's amazing, someone to lean on, someone to talk about the hard things you don't even want to say, the shameful experiences, the shameful thoughts and emotions. And I'm not saying you have to feel ready to share those things when you join the group. The idea of the group is to have space so you are comfortable to bring out those parts that so you might not even want to write down because you don't even want to physically see it existing on paper, or God forbid somebody finding it. So I'm not saying that you have to be like, I'm ready to shed it all, because when you look at groups, and I think group dynamics are really fascinating for me, and it's something I've always been interested in. So being able to do this has been really fun. You'll find the people that will be really willing and open and can share with anybody around. And then you'll find the people that will be super quiet. And if there is a slight energy shift, they'll just continue to shell in. So I don't want people to feel like I'm scared to share because I'm an introvert and I don't want to open up. We are here to try to create that space so you feel comfortable to do so.
Beautiful. So is there not an expectation that everyone has to share equally or for the same amount of time, that kind of thing?
I mean, we would encourage people to share, but I can't be like, you have to share for this amount of time. We do want to be mindful because there are things, every group has like a monopolizer. Every single group you'll find, you'll find someone who will try to like take over the group all the time. So I find it interesting that, and that's why there's group norms set in place, like, basic general things, you active listening, and stuff like that, being mindful how much time you have the floor. But sometimes, situations shift, things change. Someone might come into the group and have like, I have a huge thing I want to share about. Somebody might be like, I didn't sleep well last night, and I just really kind of want to be a person to hold space and not really share as much. So
beautiful. And so that's just a matter of communicating authentically. Like I love your page, Let It Out with Laura, truth, authenticity, vulnerability. I may have the words in the wrong
that's
order.
right.
But that's really it. Just if you're showing up truthfully and authentically, and there is automatically that's vulnerable, and we can build a stamina and a muscle for that. It really is such a path of freedom. Hang on, there was something that I wanted to share, and
I can answer a question. Megan was asking, is there homework in between meetings? Okay. So what I like so much about this is I don't want to sit there and force facilitators to do certain modalities and things. I feel like we're all going to be divinely led to who we're meant to work with as far as a peer-led facilitator. So each one is going to come in with their own technique and style about like which way they want to look at it. So as far as homework, I would more phrase it as points of introspection. So yeah, you'll probably be like, okay, we want to look at X, Y, and Z for the upcoming week. And then you kind of come back with you can call it a homework or your point of introspection to share. What I found really interesting, because I was just kind of flying off the cuff, I'm the type of person that will always look at things through a spiritual lens. So when I come back the next week, I already have what I've kind of experienced and worked on. Some other people might just not sure where to look. So I found the first few weeks when I was running my group, like I needed like an anchor point. So then I started bringing in like a point of introspection or some type of homework to bring during the week, because it kind of helps start the conversation. Now, I always say that if I give you a point of introspection, but something's pulling you really hard another way, there's another thing that's go with where you're led, is what I say. Each facilitator might say something different. I say go with where you're led because you're meant to be that way. And then you still have something to bring into the conversation the next week. But if you get like this question to answer and you're like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it, but I'm really feeling this over here, then explore that, is what I would say.
I think that's beautiful. And I love how when you share points of introspection, their introspection and contemplation is designed to then move down into our solar plexus of action. It's like, how do I live whatever instinctive wisdom arose as the response to my introspection? Now, how am I called to live it? How am I called to live it when I get that text that sends my nervous system into a bind? How do I live it in my relationship where there may be some distance? How do I live this with my colleagues, where everything that we're learning here, the shadow work, is about how do we live our insights? And that's the gorgeous value of doing this with a peer leader and in a group. I mean, this is really an incredibly gorgeous offering, what you're bringing out and what you and the leaders are bringing out into the world, Laura. This is like beautiful.
Yeah, and my goal to grow it is to get continual facilitators as the people who are members in the group. So as you're a member in the group, you keep growing, and we'll, pull more facilitators on that, and we'll continue to kind of grow. I don't expect every facilitator to come every single round because it can be a lot, just prep and time commitment and everything like that. But if things go how I'm hoping that they will or would, then it's going to be a big thing.
I have no question. Like, you are like on fire in the best way. And it's gorgeous because the best healing modalities come from our point of I may be projecting, from our point of desperation, right? It's like we have to find, soul yoga is a method that I developed and taught because I was in such pain from grief. And it was like my salvation. And then, there's a passion for sharing it. And so what you're sharing, what you're bringing out into the world is tried and tested, because you're like, I'm doing this for me first. Like, I want this for my healing, for my own healing. And man, when something works, just share it and let it grow. This is going to be incredible. And I love the potential future and visions that are being dreamed through you.
Thank you. It is something I wanted because I just wanted more people I could talk to in a deeper way. Like, I tried doing church, I tried doing the Christian community. I loved how loving and connected my friend's church was, but it's just, I felt I was a witch in hiding. Honestly, I didn't realize that. And I just want to connect with people like that, but on people who have the same base beliefs. And I feel like this community, reincarnation, this is Earth school. We're all here to learn lessons. Like, even if you come in with that base belief, like, that's really kind of like where we're at with it. But that's why I started it. I wanted friendship and I wanted my own healing. And I found some amazing friends through this process so far.
Now, you have a background in social work.
Mm-hmm.
How have you been able to bring your expertise and background and knowledge? How are the peer-led educators supported so that they are able to, like, in other words, there's probably some consistency between the way each group is led while there's some individuality and fluctuation?
Right. Well, this is kind of a by the fly thing. I always say that you're born a social worker, you don't choose to become one, that kind of chooses you in a way. So I feel like all those skills I kind of was born with, I would say, and just kind of developed over time. But I had my own shadow work group that I was running on the weekly, but space got like this. So I chose to shift and meeting with my facilitators on a weekly basis as well too, to guide them through the process, to make sure we are somewhat cohesive through it all. I know the reason why I extended an invite to these facilitators is because I know them personally and I know their journey and I know that they're putting the work in for their own healing. So I'm seeing them take their own personal steps. It might be slightly different in modality than the way I do it, but I've seen them, do what they're doing to go within. And I said, okay, that works. It's great. They're in a good headspace. They take accountability for themselves. They can see things from higher perspectives. And I kind of like brought them in, I feel like almost ready already. And a lot of it, of me working with the facilitators, is just giving them confidence and easing their doubts and their fears.
I love it. Is there, can you share or give us some highlights of perhaps some of the processes that participants in the Walking the Shadow Home peer-led groups would experience? Are there processes, practices that may show up in some of the groups that come to mind?
Well, some of them are still kind of working out, but Shauna, my dear friend who I met in the shadow work group, and I'm gonna cry because I love her so much. She's probably watching right now. I am so grateful for my group for meeting her. She is such a beautiful soul. And she and I'm it could shift, but she really comes from the internal family systems approach. We're looking at the different parts of yourself. I don't know if she's going to go full hog into it, but like taking just the general lens. Oh, Shauna, I love you. Just taking the general lens of that. And I personally use the basic framework of the lens of IFS recently. Everybody else, I'm not 100% sure. Like, some are a little bit more lax, want to go more meditation, like accessing the quantum past lives is definitely a possibility. Some of one of my facilitators has a really amazing mediumship abilities, so it could tap into that as well. And then we have our facilitator live, and you'll actually learn a lot more because they're going to be presenting tomorrow on my page at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. It's a Meet the Facilitators live to kind of go through everybody and say hello, this is who they are, and kind of give a little bit about their plans and like whatever they feel like they're comfortable sharing at the time, like about the process and everything.
Okay, so that's amazing. So if you, because I'm not Laura, I don't know how to get a link from here. I'm right here over here to there. If you send me the information, I can go back and put it in all of the comments, or maybe somebody here, Shauna. Hi, Shauna. Can you put it in the comments? Wherever you are. I don't know if you're on which page you're watching this right now. So that friends can come to the woohoo.
That's for me. That's not the live because I'd have to go out into my page and that's everything. But that's the actual form to sign up. And I don't know why it's not turning. Oh, there. Okay. Yeah. That's the actual form to sign up for the groups. And then the live we can share, because the second I switch out of my personal Facebook into my page, it does all this stuff. And yeah.
Okay, so we'll make sure that the Zoom info session for Tuesday night
it's a Facebook Live.
Oh, Facebook Live on your Let It Out with Laura page?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, and 5:30 Eastern or 8:30?
5:30.
5:30 Eastern on Laura's page. Okay, we'll make sure that it will just share it like everywhere, lots in the next 24 hours.
Well, and I was very nervous about that because I was like, if a lot of people want to join, there's only 24 spots. And technically 3 people signed up already, so 21 spots.
All right, so you're going to get a waiting list going.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to happen. Yep. This is just, and I mean, this so comes from a place of such love, wisdom, and power, really. And Laura, it's really incredible. This is just the beginning of a wave of something really remarkable.
I feel that. Because as people start getting more comfortable stepping into their authentic selves, they are going to bring to the table what their soul set for them to bring forth. And it's just, I really see it as a giant explosion of this community, like stepping into our power and then creating almost a new earth. I feel it's like, and I don't want to be like, oh, Laura starting a new earth, but I think it's a whole.
Well, Ole did. You can too.
But yeah, I mean, my end goal is to find a community that I'll physically live with. I want to get land, and every time I talk to people, I'm like, when I get land, maybe Tennessee. I'm looking for people who want to raise livestock because that's not my deal. But but yeah, it all can happen when we choose to be truthful, authentic, and vulnerable with each other.
And the cool part of that path is that the result is we get to feel relaxed in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There, I love Enneagram, and Russ Hudson describes Enneagram sometimes as the 9 ways we carry tension and the 9 pathways to relax. There is a tension we automatically carry internally that we can get so used to it, and truthfulness, authenticity, vulnerability are the pathway through that. And it's uncomfortable because nothing about the ego structure, our survival structure, wants exposure. It
Mhm.
doesn't. Yet the win on the other side is, oh my gosh, I get to feel really relaxed in myself and at ease.
Mhm.
Um, and just thank you for living your path just so truthfully, Laura. You're a really, really incredible guide and example.
Thank you. With every step we all build. Wait, with every step we take, we all build a new earth. Yes, we do.
Mm,
We do. Thank you all for being here.
mm. Um, Laura, is there anything else you want to share with us about the live stream tomorrow night at 5:30 Eastern, or the group, or just anything about shadow work in general, or your own journey right now?
I can't think of anything offhand specifically. The groups are going to start the last week of May. Um, and that's all I can really think about. I'm just like, I was even second guessing, should I come on today and share? Because I'm going to the retreat on Thursday. My daughter graduates kindergarten on Wednesday. It's just all these things that are happening at once. Yeah. Is this all staged? I don't understand what that means.
I don't know.
Okay.
Please tell us more. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a cool question.
Mhm.
um, okay, then my last question then. Oh, do you have a card for us? I know you
Yeah,
always
I actually, because I'm an early packer. I had this in a pile for stuff that I was packing, and I was like, nope, I got to pull it out because you never know. Okay, because I figured that's like I'm known for this card deck now. Oh, I pull from
Is it the soul?
yeah, the Soul Truth self-awareness card deck. It's really funny because one of my facilitators got me the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn.
Oh,
It is
beautiful.
very sweet. I'll
I
pull that
don't know it, but I just know I like all the words, and so I'm sure I'd love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm listening to his book, Whatever Arises. Love that right now. It's really good.
Oh, there's a really I will find this for you, friends. Hang on, let me find it. Matt Kahn. Okay. There's a really amazing PDF. You could, if you type in Matt Kahn PDF, everything is here to help you.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a really incredible it's like incredible. You'll love it. Everything is here to help you. PDF, Matt Kahn. It's your loving guide to your soul's evolution. It's just beautiful.
All right. I typed it in so I wouldn't forget about it. So
You're amazing at that. I'm like,
like, did y'all write all this down? No, we did not write any of it down. We're just talking. Okay. I've pulled this one before recently. So, am I willing? You're on the edge of something great. Okay.
oh, Laura.
Wait. This is the one I pulled this one out too long ago. Yes. Wait, can you feel it? Yes. There is risk, uncertainty, and imperfections ahead. Failure is certain, and vulnerability is a requirement. You must be brave and trust yourself more than ever before. You will reach the dream, but you must stretch yourself into a whole new level of belief and willingness in order to move forward with courage. Today's soul action. Be brave. Follow your heart's compass and lift the lid on your own dreams. Today's mantra, it's possible.
Oh my, Laura, there could not have been a more beautiful message for this.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was beautiful.
thank
Yeah.
you.
I didn't cry this time. I've gotten this one a few times and I've cried every time I read it. The reason why I haven't cried is because this is probably my fourth time reading it over the past 2 weeks.
Because and it steeps in, right? You're like, I'm a yes. Am I willing? Yes. Am
Mhm.
I willing? Yes. I'm doing the brave thing.
Yes.
I am a solid yes.
It
And
become it, I'm not gonna say it stops being scary, but it gets less scary for me so far.
yes. I think there always will be those fears of whatever source is the fear, and yet we build a stamina by saying yes anyway.
Mhm.
It's okay to be scared. It's okay. It's so human to
Mhm.
be, as we're stretching and expanding and stepping into our unique talents and gifts, and stepping into the answering the call of our souls. And for many here, it is a path of service in some capacity. Is it a path? It's a path of service, of healing, of helping. And you get more comfortable, I think, with a stamina of I'm scared and I can still do this even if I'm scared.
Mhm.
And you've landed enough times on your feet to know, well, I usually land. So.
Yeah. And it's great because I feel like when you have kids too, you want to be the guide, the example for it. And I just, when we were talking about that, my daughter told me the other night, a few weeks ago, I had to take her to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And she's like, Mommy, when I'm older, I won't be scared anymore. And I'm like, oh, honey.
Yeah, you will. But that's not what you say in that moment. But I get it.
But I'm like, no, like being brave is feeling scared and doing it anyway. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was one more question that just popped in. Let me see if it comes back. No. Oh, it was a sweet one too. Sorry, Laura.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And because I was waffling back and forth about asking to come on, and I was like, just do it, Laura, because I'm like, my week was too full anyway, and I was like, just do it. So I'm here.
Well, we just had a little mini chat, and that's the intention of the next 2 weeks is to just come in, have a little mini chat, half hour, 45 minutes, and friends, and please enjoy your day. Put the tech aside for just a little bit. Get outside.
It's about 80 degrees today, so I'm about to go set up all the water play stuff outside for my kids.
Good,
Yeah.
good. And we wish you a magical retreat.
Thank you.
Mwah. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much for spending some time with us this morning or on replay. And Laura, just keep shining. Thank you so much for the heart that you bring to everything, really.
Thank you, Daniela.
Have a great one. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your day. See you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow with Angelica. She'll be on tomorrow at 10. Okay. Bye, everyone.